Welcome back to the Jagged. It's been a month away, and we have been kicking and rolling. Jacksonville Jaguars training camp underway, and we're only a couple of days away from the first preseason game of the year. Javal, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. We're excited. We're excited. The general vibe is okay. This offense is gonna be sick. And this defense
We'll talk about
is
it.
a defense.
We
But
have
the
to have it.
general vibe,
Yes,
the
but
general vibe is that
we,
the
we might need to have
offense,
an intervention about that. Well, it's okay. Well, we could talk about it later.
we'll
Let's
see.
go positive vibes right now. We're only a few days, 2 days away from seeing the Jaguars step back onto the field after a very wild end to the season, to say the least.
Very well. And I mean, hey, no team's perfect. I feel maybe even kind of like how the Chiefs were for a while, and there'd be some complaints about the defense, but the offense is really good. I think the Jags are just kind of hoping, like, well, do we really need that great a defense for better or for worse? But I mean, I will say at the very most, based on what we've seen from training camp, there are, some things to take note of to where we'll definitely want to see how it plays out on the field.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
So
so I did go to one training camp. I know you're in Broward, so I'm guessing you did not have a
I
chance to
wish
go.
I would, even when I was up in Orlando, it would have
You
been,
were thinking about it, weren't you?
I wish I could have went, but alas. What was training camp like? Give us
Oh,
the,
so we'll just talk about the new facility in general. $120 million poured into the
did you, did you get
state-of-the-art
to, did
facility.
you get to use the urinal? Did you get to have your
Oh,
hydration check?
I forgot our the goat himself, Scott Hansen.
Drink
Got to
water.
got to see the
Speaking
hydration
of,
urinal. Oh, everything good?
drink water, drink water.
Oh, I don't have water in here, but got my dope ass Resident Evil 4 shaker. It's
This is
legit the best.
Black Panther
Hell yeah, we're
stickers.
repping the brands. We're horse for our brands. Marvel, Capcom sponsor us. We're big
We're
fans.
never getting that sponsor.
No, hey, we believe. I'm just kidding. No, we're not touching any of those brands at all. Hmm.
But no, what was your training camp?
Yeah,
Did
so
the
Miller Electric
facility?
Center. Oh, it's so nice. I was a bit fortunate that the sun wasn't out that season ticket member only day. It was legit raining the entire morning. Once training camp kicked off for that day, the rain stopped that whole time, maybe a few showers during, but there was no sun in sight. There's like eight big ass fans. I think that's legit the company's name that are like blowing on the roof above the fans watching training camp. And gotta say, man, very cool facility, very nice. But of course, I got to see the boys, finally step back onto the field after the end of the year. It was super nice. Appreciated it.
Zero?
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
Did you get to see number zero?
Of course. It's funny too because I took my dad and my brother to training camp, and I never see my dad fall in love with a player quickly that he has with Calvin Ridley. He just looks like the fastest player on the tree. He's like, son, that's my guy. Now I was like, okay, dad. I'm like, Jesus, I never seen you fall for any player before than Calvin Ridley. But not legit. Like everything that you heard of from reporters and other fans that haven't said it many times before, this guy's like he is unbelievable watching to practice. He just looks like a whole different animal out there compared to like Zay Jones ain't a slow guy, but like the
He's a
way
different
that
cat.
Calvin Ridley is just like running routes out there, bro. It is ridiculous. And whenever you see him in person, whenever you come up to Kansas for the Kansas City game, you'll see that too. So I can't wait for you to see. I mean, every Jagger fan wants to see what this team looks like in an open play environment when it's 11 on 11, not just our guys anymore.
Very unfortunate. I wish that the preseason game versus the Dolphins, if that was in Miami, I honestly might have probably been able to go this year. But alas, it's in Jacksonville, so it's that's just how
But
the cookie crumbles.
they
So,
don't even play. Yeah, they only
yeah,
play the
I would have,
starters that
I would have
weekend.
went to see the Kevin Austin show, the
CJ Beathard and Nathan Rourke. The
Nathan Roy.
Nathan Rourke to Tim Jones. That would have been the move. Yeah, you're
I
right.
mean,
Kevin Austin. That would have
no,
been the
that
move.
that is also a thing, like just the general, even behind Ridley. And, Ridley's obviously looked amazing. We've all heard the hype. Kirk's been good, Zay's been good. We know who likely 4 to 5. I think Parker Washington's probably going to make it. This battle for wide receiver 6 is really interesting, and I can't wait to see. I'm actually kind of excited because you have Tim Jones who made the team last year. I think he had a
Mhm.
rough day with some drops, but overall he's had a good camp, and
Mhm.
he's been the strongest, best blocker.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I don't
He
know
has value
how.
special teams as well. I know because they put him out as gunner a few times last year too.
Yeah,
He'll do the dirty stuff.
one curious thing. I know with like the Rams and Sean McVay, they would have use like Ben Skoranek as like a fake fullback.
Yeah.
They'd be like 12 personnel in quotation marks because you'd have 3 receivers, but you'd use Skoranek as like a lead blocker. And because he was like physical enough, it worked. So maybe if Doug is like, let me try something of that nature, you could use Tim Jones in that role.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think something, like that's, or maybe he just does more so all the blocking with like Brandon Strange. I don't know. I feel like that's Tim Jones. Kevin Austin, who, had a lot of drops last year, has caught a lot of passes this year. And, he's big, fast. Like he still has all the physical tools that we wanted him to make the team last year, but this
Hmm.
time he's just playing better. So that's exciting. I think another like Elijah Cooks has been good. There's just so many guys to name. So really
Yeah,
curious to see
exactly.
how it all works out and just how the quarterback developments will be. So pretty excited for the wide receiver room as a whole.
For sure. Yeah, like I said, there's probably gonna take six on the opening day. You got the four, probably five lock spots when it comes to what Ridley, Kirk, Zay, Agnew, and then it's just a fight for the other two
Oh,
spots, really.
I forgot Kendrick Pryor. He was literally on the team all of last year, but he
Yeah,
listed
just
inactive.
yeah,
But even he's
exactly.
had a good camp. So, they've heard good things about him. There's just a lot of bodies right now, and who knows how it all really shakes out.
For sure, for sure. In the running back position, it's crazy since, a few days ago we had a big, everybody saw the video of Tank Bigsby taking a 70-yard run to the house, which, is very interesting how, like I said, the big question I've been asking all off season was basically how much are they going to share the backfield, him and Travis Etienne throughout the season. And it looks like he'll probably get more touches than we think year one. We'll just see what he looks like when he's on the field on Saturday and so on and so forth.
Actually, funny enough, NFL.com had an article like what to watch at a preseason game, and the player that highlighted was Tank Bigsby, mostly for fantasy purposes, because
Hmm.
the most fantasy nerds are still wondering whether it's gonna like how much touches Tank will take versus ETN.
Hmm.
So that I know they're gonna be watching in bated breath at that. I'm also pretty curious. He's looked pretty good. I think ETN's got even better, which is still like kind of scary because if the
Yeah,
run blocking is just as good as last year, and ETN's gotten even better, what is he gonna be at like 5.896 yards a carry? I
let's hope
mean,
so, man. I would hope so with the big, explosive pass game that we think we're gonna have. Then having a complimentary running back to open it up, some of the spread looks or some of the, motion looks that the Jaguars run all the time. That'll set up some big runs for the Jaguars too. It'll
like
help feed, the running backs throughout the season.
them generally being a more like just generally being a more explosive passing game just will help it, lead to a more efficient rushing game.
Yeah.
So that's just really going to be a nice balance in terms of even if teams are trying to fight a little bit harder to let them getting it over the top, ETN can off explosive rushes and all of a sudden, game's out of hand. Because if he starts, hitting a few more, like 50, 60, 65, plus 70-yard rushes, which he did a lot of those at Clemson, like a lot of those, and he just started to scratch. Because even a few runs, he just barely. I remember one versus the Colts that didn't lead to a touchdown, and he barely missed it. So
I mean, yeah, we're all hoping for, with just a healthy, well, everyone healthy, just all positions of the game, offensive line, all that. So, oh, who's that behind you? I guess we got Javal's mom giving Javal a little bit of a drink. You love to absolutely see it when we're talking about ball. You
I
absolutely love
apologize.
to see
So,
it. No, you absolutely love to
um,
see it. That's
so
staying
the
in there too.
story is
Uh-oh.
my
What's
mom
going
went to
on?
this smoothie place called Ace.
Ooh.
Um, it's this very Jamaican. It's like these coconut water in the smoothies. And then she
Ooh.
called me about it. And then so she was like, "Oh, like come have the smoothie." And then so I was like drinking it, and I didn't finish it. Like I was saving some for later. And then I had some when she went downstairs. She's "Do you want it?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine." And then she came upstairs to give me the rest of her smoothie because that's just how moms are. So, um, yeah.
Oh, moms, you absolutely love to
Stay
see it.
hydrated, everybody.
Of course, I got my
Shout out
drink
to
still to.
Taste Smoothies.
Another
Uh,
sponsorship opportunity for our county. If you're listening, hey, hit up our boy
if you're
Jamal.
listening, if we talk about Cabernet and you're in Coconut Creek, we're Taste Smoothies, get you something.
hmm
If somehow Ridley's family members ever find this,
Oh, for sure. I mean, let's hope so, man. We gotta put him in the tags and everything.
but unrelated, but actually, I've also been to Lamar's Jackson's like restaurant here. It's about like 20
Really?
minutes. Yeah, it's a soul food place. Really nice. I've been there a couple times. Really nice vibe.
Oh,
F
wow.
so um who knows? Maybe there'll be I feel like that definitely would be like a Broward lunch one day. Like a bunch of like came with like Zay Flowers, they like have like some wings or something one day. I don't know, like fight night. But we can get back to training camp vibes now.
For sure. Is your
Sorry
video
to get
okay?
off past.
There we go. No, definitely not. This is why we record the way we do. We just let vibes take over. We talked about running backs. It's the whole offense in general should, I don't want to be too, super optimistic, but it has to be top five, right? If we have natural progression. If Carson Wentz could be an MVP candidate year 3 and year 2 with to a Doug Pearson system, I would hope that Trevor Lawrence could kind of, do even better because he's just a better quarterback in general. I can't hear
If
you,
it
Javal. Oh, there you
oh,
go.
if this offense remains to be top 10 and not top 5, the only thing would be that the offensive line takes like enough of a step back, but even then I guess, the one thing we'll see how Anton Harrison looks on Sunday.
Yeah.
Reports are even with the minor shoulder injury, he's played well at camp. He's had some rookie moments. So, I'm not expecting him to be perfect.
Yeah.
He's going to allow a few sacks sometimes. He's a rookie. It's just, we'll see how the line shakes out. Left guard, especially, it's Shadley still not returning yet. I still think he's likely to play week 1. That probably makes the most sense in terms of just running it back. But if he's can't return week 1, Bart still hasn't returned to practice.
Yeah, he's on the
He
pup.
can't
Still on the
see when the
pups.
speaking of smoothies, we'll see when the smoothie king himself comes back.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
Oh
Hey,
man.
perfect transition. You love to see it.
Oh man, yeah, that was fate. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. Because 3/5 of the line is pretty solid. Left tackle, we feel pretty good about Walker Little.
Yeah.
We'll see how he fares at guard once it's looking like he'll probably slide into guard once Cam comes back, which I mean
I
Cam's also they've said Cam's had a good camp, so
but
if Cam lets up a sack, I just think that Cam is, a little bit better for a run blocker than a passer. So I feel just him being
the inside guy instead of, or
I
even
feel like
just something.
stylistically it makes more sense to have Cam as like a road grader on the inside, Like
Yeah.
I think the running game like could actually be pretty legit. I don't know. That's just me though. I mean, obviously he still has good running plays as tackle, so it's not like he'd be bad wherever he plays. But I think I'm just kind of curious in terms of how the running game would look if you were to swap them and how do you get them on the move? That's just kind of what the coaching staff wants to do. I'm just an observer.
Yeah, we're all just want the best for the Jags, and the big issue for a lot of the games they played in last year, a lot of those third or second, third, fourth and one situations, more likely we were passing the football because the team wasn't confident in the inside protection when it comes to running the football. We were a better team running to the outside than we were running inside. To see hopefully the internal progression of Luke Fortner as the starting center. I've heard differing reports about how he looked into camp. Some say he still gets ran over by some of the bigger O linemen. Some say, maybe when he gets on the field, it's going to be better. But, hearing the former stuff about Fortner going into year two, you don't want to hear that because the center is usually the position, especially during pass protection, is the least you hear about them whenever it comes to the pass protection game. But you also don't want to be an emphasis because you are going to be facing guys like Chris Jones twice a year. You are going to be facing guys like Quentin Williams and like the playoff time, and you don't really want those guys to be like, running all over your inside protection when it comes to the running and the passing game for long periods of time.
I have going to look. We will see. Like I said, I've heard some up reports, some down reports. Kind of just depends on the player he is, and maybe if the mental improvements he's made, because like they always talked about like he's been a smart player. So
2 degrees.
we'll
Two
see.
degrees. So,
We'll see if
smart guy.
maybe he's able to another year in like the playbook more. He's more familiar with like scheming. So
It's funny
we'll
because
see.
you're always spoiled with guys like Meester and Linder being like, just eaters there at the center. But now since we have like a quarterback and an offense, he's like, there's more questions about at the center position, which is something we don't really ask of. So it's just kind of a privilege that we always had for many years. So we'll see if Fortner can just do the job. Just don't get Trevor killed is basically all we're really asking for at the end of the day. You there,
But
Javal? Oh, there you go. It's
so
cutting in and out, man. I'm not gonna lie. I can
uh,
barely hear you in and out.
yeah, I'm not
Oh no, this is a
breaking content.
disaster. Oh, I keep hearing you in and out, man. Not gonna lie.
Is everything okay? Okay.
Yeah, that's probably why. Are you serious? And that's the reason why it wasn't working from time to time?
I think it just shifted a little bit. Okay. My apologies.
You're okay. Yeah, I went on a tangent about Fortner. I was trying to hear what you were
No,
saying, but I
I heard
couldn't hear
what you're
you in
saying
and
about
out.
Foreigner. I mean,
Oh, okay.
Mr. 2 degrees.
Yeah. I
No, I
couldn't
heard
hear
you, I think.
you. Yeah, I couldn't hear
No,
you, which
I
is the
heard everything
problem.
you were saying about Mr. 2 degrees. I mean, we'll see how it translates to being on the field, being in pads. So, we still have Scherf. We think Anton's going to be good. So, the O-line, I'm not petrified by. I think a lot of NFL media is much lower. They, think it's like bottom of the barrel O-line,
Yeah.
which I
ESPN ranked them 31st out of 32 in the league. And I remember the players from Walker, like the O line coach and some of the players wearing that number 31 on the back of their t shirts when it comes to start at camp. So it's just a goal to, try to prove those people wrong. But we only got to see when we're on the field.
so if we're even like the 16th best offensive line
Oh, big
with
win. Big win.
with I mean, and the crazy thing is they still ran the ball really like pretty well considering like ETN just like once you get him to the outside. So if they can just get a little bit, I don't think they're even terrible in pass protection because you have Trevor. That's really the thing. So if you can just take a few mild steps, and
Mm-hmm.
Trevor's going to keep getting the ball up quickly because he's more comfortable in the system, knowing the looks, knowing the checks. That's just going to ease everything overall for the O line. So I mean, we'll see, man. The offense as a whole, though, most people are thinking top five potential to be potential top three up there, So they're doing the sky's the limit with this O line just because how well Trevor's playing and connecting with the staff and the guys. So we're excited. They're gonna play a series or two. I feel like if they score really quickly on one drive, then they're probably just that's gonna be it. If
Yeah.
they go like three and out, then it'll probably play like a second drive. So hopefully, they just one drive touchdown. I mean, I won't be mad if they just throw like a 75-yard counter like touchdown, and then everyone just is
Yeah, I don't
like,
think they're gonna have really go on a streak for the first play of the game, though, right? I mean, it'd be kind of a storybook kind of thing, but I would say that for the regular season than the
okay,
preseason.
yeah, yeah,
Kind of
you
just
can.
want to go through just a
You're
very
saving that one for Kansas City.
or even Indianapolis. Yeah, you're right. I might just say it for Kansas City. You're right. We don't want to overlook anyone though. It's
You
just the
don't want to
NFL.
overlook Indy. Yeah, you don't want to overlook Indy, but If Indy's giving us a little bit of trouble, then
Yeah.
that'll be the dagger. They're like, oh yeah, this guy's really fast down the field too. But
Just target slow ass Stephen Gilmore and be like, hey, he got
oh no,
Calvin
he's on
Ridley
the
on you.
Cowboys.
Is he on the Cowboys now? Jesus. That's how
That's
there
how
you
the
go.
NFL. Well, he's not gonna do. Yeah, speaking of the Cowboys, what a great transition.
Yeah.
Um,
So we start off with, will they play starters? I don't know. I asked a
I don't.
Cowboys fan at work today, did they play starters? He said, I don't know. I was like, ah, oh well, I
A
think
Cowboys fan, I actually they also don't really play much of the starters. So if the defensive, if the Jags are just going like versus like a vanilla Cowboys defensive second team,
yeah.
just execute a solid game plan. You don't have to like throw the ball deep off script. Just go through your progressions, make it look solid, make it look easy, and everyone's happy. So
It's just like
uh,
preseason was last year for us. Like it was against the Browns, and then I forgot who else we played with the starters. I just remember the Browns because I was there calling the Sean Watson a fucking rapist and all that. That was fun. I like that. That was a fun preseason. Especially since we didn't get to see him for like 9 weeks again after we called him rapist.
speak that we AFC North stretch. But
Huh.
yeah, I guess is there anyone else on the? Oh, we didn't talk about the tight ends.
We didn't. I mean, we
That
extended
that's
Evan Ingram.
actually they've also had a good camp. How do we
Yeah,
forget the tight ends? I mean,
exactly. Cool.
Ingram's played really well so far. I mean, obviously, once he got the extension, you knew he was locked in. You
Yeah.
had Ingram. Garrett Prince has been like looked
Yeah,
like a
that's the
pretty
big
good
name so
receiver.
far that we hear of. It's just like the guy
He's
out of nowhere out of camp seems to be a backup tight end and Garrett Prince. Like I saw him in that camp on that Friday I went to, and dude caught like 2 touchdowns in a row. He found his way in the back of the end zone, open on res. It's like, oh Jesus, who's this guy? 86. And I remember Ship and Mia talking, highly of Garrett Prince even before then. It's just like, dude, this guy kind of looks. We got something here? Like a late like pickup and just be like, he's got a little something in there. He might have a little bit of juice,
We know what
which
Doug can do with tight ends.
exactly. And so, it was weird because the second round pick that we took this year was another tight end and Bretton Strange. To start off camp, it was kind of murmurs like, can he really be how productive can he be year one? But this week I've seen a lot more noise. Mia and 1010XL uploading more videos, just looking a lot better throughout camp this week. With tight ends, it's one of the hardest positions to learn year one in the NFL. It's always going to be a transition, and you don't really want to expect like Travis Kelsey numbers, or even like what is a solid tight end in the NFL that's not like a barometer below Evan Ingram, which would be like, I don't know.
The fun fact, I was listening to a podcast. They
Hmm.
said like the median number for like a tight end season, like a rookie tight end, is like. Do you want to take a guess what it's about? Or
I want to say like 15 and like 300 for like, I don't know, 2 touchdowns. Or
close, close. It's like a
okay,
lot more catches because it's
okay,
like 36 catches
okay.
for about 300 yards and like two and a half, like three touchdowns. So that's like a median rookie numbers, like for a rookie year tight end. Do I think Strange will have that many? I mean, honestly, if Trevor
Mm,
throws for 5,000 yards, like the scenario that Trevor throws for 5,000, could Brenton Strange get like
300 of those.
300?
Yeah, what you put in that perspective, you're probably right.
It really just depends on how much they want to spread it out. Because if he even gets hot down the stretch, we saw how Ingram got hot down the stretch last year once they figured out how to use him. So maybe once Strange, if they just kind of still ease him in the system. Maybe if he gets hot down the stretch, they can just use him differently. So we'll see. And then Luke Farrell is Chris Manhertz 2.0, but
Yeah, a lot more athletic.
younger.
So hopefully, it turns out very well. Yeah, we also gonna bring in 4 tight ends. I think we will bring all four. I think of
Rip
Ingram,
to Josh
Prince,
Peterson.
Josh Peterson.
Is Tommy
It happened again, Javal. It happened a bit, but it's like that though. Yeah, Josh Peterson, coach's son. I just don't think it's gonna work out.
is
Just hurt
he
so
the Tim
much.
Tebow of camp?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, he's actually played tight end, so
Yeah,
he
exactly.
played at the USFL, so he at least has some respect. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess is there any other offensive player you want to talk?
Like, no, I think we reached all the talking points, just praising the offense. Of course, Calvin Ridley being the eye of everyone in training camp that were there. Like if you're any of those days, that was the first person you were looking for. And yeah, I mean, let's hope it speaks. Let's hope for an exciting offense and everyone stays healthy because God forbid if someone important goes down, I'm gonna want to throw myself into the St. John's River.
You and me both.
Exactly. All right. We were just basically trying to spend as much time talking about the offense before we talk about the intervention that we need to talk about, and that's the defense. And the number one issue, do you want to take over? I already know what you think the number one issue. We've been talking about it all off season, since after the draft even. And that is the
Well, the problem is that, in the NFL, you need like usually 3 to 4 good pass rushers, and
mm,
the Jags have like two, maybe good two
maybe
pass rushers.
maybe.
Okay, they have a pretty good pass rusher who could have a pretty great season.
But
I
he's
th I
also hurt
think.
right now. Our second best pass rusher, I think, is hurt right
Well,
now.
yeah, I'm just saying in terms of like mainly edge guys, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think
you
it's
have
Josh Allen
Josh.
and Smoot won't come back till October at the earliest. So,
Well, no,
you know,
I mean, I think Trevon will be pretty good this year. I think him just being
natural
more
progression.
comfortable, more trust in the system. I'm not expecting a dynamic year per se.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had 15 and a half sacks, would I be upset? No. But
Well, if he said no, I'll be dancing on the streets if that man gets 15 and a half sacks.
if
I'll
he
get
even
his
gets,
jersey too if he gets 15
I
and a half
think,
sacks.
just in terms of still him being probably playing a little more inside too,
Yeah, exactly.
even if he's playing better off the edge, which I think he will, just by virtue of him being more experienced. Even when Trevon slides inside, who's you're going to put opposite on edge? I mean, have we heard any positive reports from he who shall not be named?
Oh God, Swiper.
Yeah.
The fact that Daniel Hunter signed the extension, it kind of hurt me after he followed us on
Hey, we
Instagram.
knew
Not
it
gonna
wasn't
lie,
happening.
man,
We
it
knew it
kind of
wasn't
hurt. Yeah, it's like Darius Slade 2.0, man. I don't know how it
happening.
happened two times this
So
offseason. It just did.
I'm a little, I'm not terrified, but just in terms of like what else they can, like who else is at the position, no one else has stood out behind Josh Allen and Trevon. It's just been,
We'll see. We'll see when they're
you
on the
really haven't heard
field.
much
Yeah.
from Chase on. Jordan Smith's been with the third team. Even Abdullah, who
They were all
he's a
kind of
rookie,
looking.
so
Yeah.
I'm not going to be super harsh, although I did think he was, still underdrafted.
Hmm.
Hasn't performed super great, but he can still break out later in the year. So we'll see. But
It's just not a lot of excitement when it comes to the pass rush. Like even our friend Shipley, he's basically said to kind of hit the. I remember there was a segment a few days ago.
hit
Say
the panic
hit the
button.
panic button on the pass rush. This is like, damn, and we still got $18 million in cap space too, and we did not use any of those early picks on the pass rusher, which we thought we should have done even before and even after draft. Like, I don't know about not addressing the pass rusher Leon. They really are trying to bank on internal progression for guys like Trayvon and Jordan Smith and Swiper and oh my god, your face lit up when I said that last day, but it's like. We'll see. Oh man.
This is actually this is going to turn out so terribly, John. I promise you. There's either two ways this turns out.
We were
Either he
completely
just
right about our pass rush since the draft, or we're gonna get 60 sacks, or we're gonna be dancing on the street, and we've been rocking Sag Guru jerseys. I hope it's the latter. I really do. Because goddamn, I'll be so insufferable if you were right about this all along. Jaguars, why the fuck did you do this to us?
I mean, just in terms of the one thing I will say is I do think the internal players, we talk a lot about the edge rush players themselves, but interior D line, I think they've been the probably the strength of the Jags defense in camp.
Yeah.
Devon Hamilton, they said he's looked more. This is the best he's looked. He gets a new contract. He's got to show up to camp. A little more pep in his step.
Mm-hmm.
So Hamilton's looking good. Roy Robertson Harris is looking good.
More
Even Foley's looking
contract.
a little bit
Yeah.
better. Even
Contract.
Deshaun Dixon's been playing inside more. So When you get Dix inside, good penetration. So just got to keep going.
Tyler
But
Lacey, another late draft pick as well. He's had some solid flashes too, from what we've heard.
so if you could just get more of an interior push, which the Jags had an okay one. So if the interior push is pretty good, and the outside two pass rushers are like also pretty solid,
We're even just
maybe you'll get
disruptive.
creative.
That's all we're asking for. Josh Allen gets, stopped and wherever he's pass rush for. You want Trayvon Walker to be the one to get a lot because he has all the tools in the world to
I
be that
think yeah,
guy.
I think we might see more of Trayvon double teams this year. I think he's just going to really open up, like kind of just what he did at Georgia, allow a lot of the other players to just flow to the ball. So,
Mm-hmm. It's just what we need, really. And just see if it'll work or not.
so it's just, if we just had one more extra guy to add some juice with, in case Trayvon has an ankle sprain for 2 weeks, because
God, like he did last year, basically, toward the end of last year, where he did see a lot more of Swiper toward the end of last year. He had some flashes. He did get like one sack against his hometown team. So, like, sure, you know, but you know how we feel about Swiper and all that.
they're excited though. So I'm just, praying that my Abdullah hype doesn't let me down too much. So we'll see. But
God, we're
going through the
so
front
worried.
seven,
Let's
the
talk about linebackers.
linebackers, they've looked, I guess not like pretty good. I guess they just haven't been like had the highlight.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know. The
mean,
linebackers, I don't want to say they've like stolen the show from what I've heard so far, but you really haven't had them having a bad day.
yeah, exactly.
Even
It's
with
not like,
Devin
well, they
Lloyd.
don't look like lost in coverage. I mean, yeah, we spent two early picks in 2022 on linebackers, and you don't really know really which one is going to get more game time to start off the year. It's
I
really a big
mean,
question mark going in, I feel like, too.
I think it's mainly been Lloyd. I think he's first team on the depth chart. It's Lloyd right now.
Hmm.
So we'll see how they sub him and Muma out. Um, you know, that's always really curious to see how they handle the situation with
Yeah,
those two. But linebackers have been pretty solid. I think Caleb Johnson's been. I've heard he's had some flashes too. Quarterman, shout out to for the Henry hit, and
of
even the guy who
course.
everybody hated, Ventral Miller, hasn't been terrible. So I'll give him some credit. So
Shout out to
linebackers have been pretty
Shipley.
solid.
Oh, shout out to oh, I shouldn't say that story. Never mind. I'll keep that off. I'm actually gonna try to get Shipley on next week,
But
by the way. I don't know if I told you, but I'm gonna try to get Shipley on next week and talk to us about
I would
the
love
Jags.
that. That'd be amazing.
Oh, we have to,
Uh,
man. He's been vocal about helping me out for a long time, and I hope to have him on to talk about Jaguars, whatever we
I
want
need
to
I
ask
need a
him.
fellow I need a fellow alumni to talk to.
Exactly. UCF, man, y'all got a rep.
That's
You
my
fellow
guy right
Knights.
there.
Of course. But yeah, linebackers. You didn't even talk about Foye, back-to-back tackle leader in the NFL, bona
He's
fide
just been
leader.
solid. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
he he's just been doing as advertised. He's just Foyer. He's just there.
Exactly. He'll be there, always getting tackles. He always clean up. Is he the best pass coverage guy? No. But do we really, do we just hope that he doesn't get targeted too much? Do we just get pressure from that D line in front of them? Let's hope so.
He
Because,
he has good processing. He knows where to be,
yeah.
even if he can be. He's, I guess an upgraded pause, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
like he's definitely not as like
Not
because
as, yeah,
Foyer is
slow.
still like fast per se.
Yeah,
It's just, sometimes he could be a little bit stiff in coverage.
yeah.
But when he knows where the ball is going 100%, where he's there. So
All I really asked for. And we'll see how it goes, really, toward now until then, because we don't even know if they're going to try to set up in 3-4 again or they're going to go back more to 4-3. It was a big conversation throughout the offseason. We just got to see when we get into the games, especially starting Saturday. We'll see what looks we go into.
probably the most interesting part of training camp is, the thing that I said I was the most excited and curious was just the secondary and how it was going to look. And there's been some flashes, and I'm actually kind of excited to see the secondary how it works out. Even if not everyone's going to be the first team. Um, so obviously we talked about the nickel situation a lot as well,
Yeah.
and
You
it's
don't
still
even know.
been
I
Trey.
do you know who's on the nickel or who's
It's
first on that
it,
list?
it's been Trey Herndon first team still. So
Okay.
which I
I get it.
to be
We get it.
fair, I think the one thing the Jags did though is when Tyson got hurt, they didn't move Trey Herndon to the outside. They kept him at the nickel. So I think now the
There's
Jags are trying to just focus more so on nickel, um, with one exception we'll get to later. But because even last year, Greg Jr., who they drafted, was kind of more supposed to be outside, and he was outside training camp. But this year, he's the second team nickel, and he's had some flashes. People are saying that Greg Jr. has been being able to compete a little bit more. We've heard his name more in camp, which we didn't really hear his name much in camp last year. So
Mhm.
and the fact that he's probably behind Herndon too. So if he continues to flash and if Herndon struggles at nickel, we'll see. Which part of it is with Herndon. He had to play inside after being forced to play after he didn't really have time in training camp to focus solely on playing the nickel position. So maybe he plays a little bit better to start the year because he has more experience in the slot. But if Herndon slips up, then Greg Jr.'s kind of nipping at his heels. And, they drafted all these DBs for a reason. So sooner or later, they're going to start seeing the field. Um, and behind him at nickel, I think his third team is like Eric Hallett, who he's
Yeah.
also been pretty good. I think he's had like 3 interceptions at camp so far. I think he's been cross training at nickel and safety, so which considering he played a lot of positions at Pitt makes sense. So we'll see if he gets on the field. I don't think he's going to get until right away, but they at least have more options, which compared to last year, the Jags really didn't have. I mean, they had more unproven depth, but now you're starting to see more development, more growth from the year two guys, along with more competition on that back end to just feel more growth, more depth, and just the more bodies in the room, the more you got to stand out. So,
Oh
and that's
yeah.
really just from the slot.
We didn't even talk about the big thing about the secondary is that Tyson Cable gets to go play against Calvin Ridley every single day whenever they were both healthy. I mean, that's just huge in general for both of their, for Calvin for being able to get back to game speed, and of course for Tyson who gets to go up against one of the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. I know he hasn't been playing for 2 years, but when he was peak in Atlanta, he's definitely top 10 wide receiver in the entire league. So just them being able to go
And
face to face every
just in
single day just makes them better.
just in terms of a route runner, who is a better route runner than Calvin? The only guys that say a better route runner
Just like
is
Justin Jefferson,
Devontae Adams.
maybe Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson's really good. I guess like he's so great as a whole that
Yeah,
you don't think speak solely because of the route running. Like he's just so great that it's like is he that great of a route runner? You can't really argue against it, but you don't think of route running because you think of everything. Just he's so good. But
yeah.
Devontae Adams, Jefferson, even guys who like a lot of the Bama guys. Speaking of Ridley, like Devonta Smith, Jerry Judy, there's not many better route runners. So for Tyson, just to have to go against such a great route runner, and even I think he's getting a little bit healthier now, so probably
Mhm.
not as much next week because joint practices, but just during practice itself, having to keep going this really week after week, that's just going to keep going there, letting them grow, and they just seem to be so excited for the challenge. Even Darius Williams, who kind of felt disrespected, he was like, okay. He's not familiar with my game. So Darius Williams, when Tyson was out, he kind of stepped up a little bit.
Mhm.
So, if both of those guys have a good year on the outside, then that's going to be really nice to see and it's going to be huge. So, if we have two good outside corners and, this sort of secondary's been playing pretty solid, Cisco's been, well, he hasn't been, he's been down a little bit with injuries, but, Cisco, when he's on the field, we'll see if he's going to be a returner as well. It's interesting to see.
Yeah,
Let's go to the secondary. But if Tyson and Darius, that's going to be pretty big in terms of what the Jags can do defensively.
for sure, for sure. And yeah, it's just the thing though. It's like especially guys like Ray Sean got kind of slided. I know we don't really talk about Madden ratings that much, but I know he was like low 70s in Madden ratings, and he just went off a tangent saying it's all like agenda based and whatever. Just more fuel to the fire. Not saying Madden ratings are everything, but if they see their rating is like low 70s, Tyson Campbell like low to mid 80s, it's like what the hell is going on here?
Yeah,
They think
Tyson's
we're
only an
not that guy.
85. Darius Williams is a 79.
Oh,
So if he's playing, if they're playing up to that fire, man, we'll
hmm.
see. And even just some of the guys behind them. Unfortunately, there's another corner who did some bad things that is still competing for well still competing for backup slots.
I
We'll
would.
see. We'll see if number six still makes the team. I
I
mean,
think he should get toast every time he's on the field, and I will actually cheer whenever he does get toast. That's just my personal take. Whatever he
apparently
did,
he
yeah.
apparently he had like an Odell interception at training camp, so we'll see how if whether that works. But um, between you know Clay Brooks, Tavon Campbell, who's also got more reps on the outside, who's probably the most experienced guy, and Buster Brown, he's also playing on the outside. We'll see how those guys, because the Jags really are kind of just splitting reps between everybody to see who plays the best. So, you know, it's we'll see in the preseason which corner plays the best and how they all respond.
Man, who's gonna get burned? Because I feel like it's gonna happen a lot. I'm so pessimistic about like backup defense, though. I don't know, it's because we're reading too much into what the guys at camp are saying every single day. But we just got to see what happens when we go up against other people, other 53 to 90 men rosters. It's just tough seeing each other compete every single day. Is our offense that great, or is our defense that bad, or is it a mixture of both? We
It's
didn't know
probably a little
until we're
bit
on
of
the field.
both.
I think so too. That's always what it is at the end of the day.
And then at least with, the safety room really quick, um, Antonio Johnson's, I think he'll probably be a big special teamer this year. And we'll see if they use him in some dime packages. I think he'll see the field for, maybe like a few chunk of snaps here and there, like a three safety set to like stop the run, but still have some money for like the pass. If they ever want to, try something a new nickel, like three safeties for like, still want to have like a hitter, like a nickel that can be help fill the run. We'll see. The defense is
The defense.
thing is, the turnovers was good last
Yeah.
year. Turnovers aren't, you can't really predict year after year
Hmm.
progression with turnovers. They're fluky in nature.
Yeah, exactly.
So you kind of will see how the turnover growth will go. If the offense is going to be allowing for more pass situations, will lead to a lot more pressure rates, more sacks, then will the interceptions grow? Hopefully.
Hmm.
We don't know yet, but we'll see.
And also, it's kind of a natural feeling that we're having because last season, last place schedule, this season, first place schedule. So just like having the better competition rather than guys like, Dak Prescott throwing us interceptions left, right, center. That's, I mean, no respect to Dak Prescott, but, he's also had a pretty bad camp over there in Dallas. So, it's like we don't
It's
get
been
to,
an okay camp. They've
had
got
that
the
three
Mike
interception
McCarthy
day.
special going on. Ask
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers about how that went.
Yeah, so it's just like, like we're not gonna have a lot of those games where we're facing off guys that's gonna turn over the ball, like, turn us the ball over so many times. I mean, we hope so. That'd make things a lot easier if teams were throwing turns because the defense just has a lot of natural progression that we aren't really anticipating. Because believe me, if I'm real with you, I'm super pessimistic about this defense this year because we didn't address that pass rush and we didn't get that slot corner we've also been begging for. They just wanted to, screw it. Let's score 40 points a game, it seems like. And, I know that's how the modern NFL wants to be, but we'll see how it executes throughout a 17 game season because you don't know what it's like with injuries and internal progression. It's just everything. It's just all mixed bag.
I mean, I think the defense still, it may not look great on paper, but we just have to see everything on the field.
Yeah.
And the thing with the defense is it really is, like just all about communication. It's 11 on 11 and getting chemistry. So, with pads on in defense, it's fine, but you're not hitting the quarterback, so you don't really get to see the full effect. So obviously, the defense isn't taking over and shutting down and getting interceptions every single day, but they are, playing on easy mode. They're not really allowing the defense to pin their ears back yet. So we'll see how if once the season starts and just the general offense being more explosive, teams are like, well, we have to pass more, and then will that just lead to general increase in pressure and just Trevor Lawrence being better, make the defense being better? Maybe.
Hmm.
I mean, you can win with that. If you just get a turnover and you get like one or two stops and you can just steal a possession and the offense is playing well enough, that's all you need to win.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Um, is there anybody else on defense that we wanted to highlight or
I think we talked about everyone, honestly. It's just we had a progression for like different levels of the defense. And, I think you're a bit more optimistic about me where this is going, but I just think it's just going to be so tough just
I
relying
can
on the offense so much this season.
I can see both outcomes, but I mean I really think that the team is always going to go as far as Trevor goes no matter what.
Yeah, that's
So
fair enough. I
if
mean,
the
even like the
if Trevor
Chiefs, the Chiefs are kind of like that too. Early Mahomes years was like, yeah, the offense was scoring 5,000 fucking points a game, but defense also looked a little bit leaky at times. But guess what? They're outscoring the other team, so it didn't really
they're
matter.
and they were focusing on a lot of just trying to get turnovers and just getting an extra possession. So
Hmm.
that's really all it takes. I've played enough Madden to know that if you win the if you hey, I mean, if you
Yeah.
win the turnover battle, get an extra possession or two, and you win scoring those possessions, all of a sudden, positions, even if you let a couple of scores, you're going to be passing a lot more predictable of a team. Defense is going to be able to just relax and see. So we'll see how the defense. I'm just cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to talk anybody onto the fucking ledge and push him off. It's just like, I guess I'm just naturally pessimistic because I've said it before. Jaguars haven't had two good seasons in a row since 98, 99. You weren't even born. I was just a fucking child. So, am I expecting disappointment? Maybe. I don't want to though. I want to have fun. I need to be joyous John again because it's kind of hard kind of being, the hard ass. I don't know. I'm like one of the only ones I feel like saying, I don't know. I still
It's
think
okay.
we should
If
do
if we're,
well.
if we're if we're having a truth moment, I'm
Yeah.
still naturally a little bit petrified that either we're gonna have Anthony Richardson like just run for like 200 yards versus us week one, or Gardner Minshew is gonna throw for 300.
I
I no,
mean,
I
they're
think it's
playing
definitely
Anthony
gonna
Richardson.
it's definitely gonna be. I feel like Richardson's going to like tweak his knee or something for like one game. So Gardner Minshew was like, all right, I got this, and then he's gonna go off and throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in like an
All I
upset
ask
win.
is not anyone to have a Shaq Griffin type of game where they just look completely lost on defense, and that's the reason why we lose an entire game is because of one person's petrifying
If
coverage or
that person is
petrifying
Trey
defense.
Herndon, we will have a heated discussion on that podcast.
You called it since the beginning though. That's your guy, and of course I'm the one who originally came after Kayvon Chase on. So he just looks lost every time he gets like a 30 snap game. I'm gonna fucking lose it too.
Or
I'm
what if
gonna
it actually, you know what? No, wait. There's either two outcomes.
no.
Either like either it's no, there's three hilarious outcomes. It's like close game, like or the Colts catch us off guard, or it's
Hmm.
like Houston week one where like we just start off on a hot start and the defense gets a bunch of sacks and Chase on has like a 3 sack game and we're looking stupid.
Yeah, exactly. It's legit. It's a hilarious. It's gonna be hilarious, and it could be like the Washington Commanders game last year where it was like neck and neck, and then we just choke it last second for whatever reason. Or like we just blow them out the water and it's like not even close like we really were thinking or hoping for like every start of our dreams basically to start off the year. There's no other
And
outcome.
that's the
It's
thing.
either
If
a
you
blowout
just
or a close game that we lose. I feel like there's no other way the season starts off.
yeah, that week one, will just prove how serious because I don't think, they're not focused. They're not going to overlook the Colts just because they know they're going to want to repeat the
It's a
division
division
and it
game,
starts week
and
one.
Doug Peterson is the one who emphasized the most. Got to win your division games more than anyone in the NFL. He always knows how important those 6 games are, and we start off with 2 of them the first 3 weeks of the year. So we'll see how that goes for sure.
You even can just go 2-1 in that stretch. Like if you lose to the Chiefs, but you
Sure.
still win 2 other games in your division, you're still doing pretty good. So, we'll see how everything goes, man. And I guess for special teams, is there anything
McManus.
super McManus is good, and that's
McManus.
all we need to say.
Got a
So
leg,
that's
man.
like
Kicked 65 yards in practice in this Florida heat. You love to see it. Want to see more of it.
so yeah, the Jags can score a lot more ways now. We have more a stronger kicker, deep, like more explosive offense. But I guess special teams has just been
And
special
I mean, we
teams.
just we just don't want to see the Logan a lot. I love Logan, but we don't want to see you on the field as much. But I get it. You'll be there sometimes, but we don't want to see you a lot of the times during Sundays.
Hopefully he's just like,
Holding
dang,
the
I gotta warm
ball.
up.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
I gotta stretch for a
Yeah.
second. I haven't got up in like 25
Yeah,
minutes.
and here
He's like,
there you go.
yeah.
Extra
All right.
lead to take it to 20-0,
And then he's gonna
Just
get ready for like a stretch. He's gonna like do like a fake punt, and then he's gonna like, all right, thanks guys. I didn't
remember
feel
he's
like
a
kicking
lefty. He can
anyways.
fake punt it too. He's a lefty thrower, as we saw before.
Do you
During
think we'll
the
see? Do you think we'll see a trick punt this year, or
I
like a
think
trick?
so. We have to. Do it against the Chiefs. Screw it. Screw it. Just do it against the
If
Chiefs.
there's any game for Doug Peterson to pull
To
out the
call
playbook, it
the
would
throwaway
absolutely be
play.
versus.
Yeah.
It would absolutely be versus Andy Reid. It
Yeah.
would. I feel like Andy Reid would then call a trick play and like this. Oh, you. It's like in Madden when someone calls a trick play
And it
and he's
works.
like,
It's
"Oh,
like
you want to
shit. I gotta
go?" He's
throw it.
like, "You
Yeah.
want to go? Okay, bet I got you." And he would just call like he would just come up with something in like the next quarter, and it would like a 45-yard game, and then Doug would just come back. They would just be like teasing each other. I love it,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I
I
wonder if
remember my
they play
Madden
Madden
days
versus
where
each
I just
other.
choose Marquette King up in my franchise mode so I could just run it up on 4th and 1 with a punt pass and then just run it with Marquette King for eight
I wonder
yards for
if
a first down.
I wonder if Doug Peterson and Andy Reid played Madden versus each other. Like who's won? Like I'm genuinely curious. I feel like coaches have at least played Madden once, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially the younger coaches. Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury have definitely played Madden against each other.
Oh, 1,000%. Like coaches definitely have. I wonder who the best Madden coach is. Like if you just had a Madden league, I'm
There's the
sorry for
tangent that
going.
we were waiting for all along. Which coach do you think is the best in Madden? And
It
who's the
has. You're
worst?
right. It has to be like okay. The worst I'm thinking is definitely Bill Belichick because he has no idea what the control. Pete Carroll.
He doesn't know what a PlayStation 1 is. He definitely has never cared about video games at any
There's
point of
like
his
two
life.
types of
Yeah.
old dudes. Like Pete Carroll is like the I love video games
Yeah.
kind of old guy. Like he's
Yeah.
going to the arcade. Bill
Yeah.
Belichick is like I don't know what the heck this thing is. Like
Yeah. What the hell's an arcade? What the hell is this? Get this out of here.
what is a PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
So who would be the best? You're probably
I think
McVay.
I
I
would
mean,
say like low key shout. I think Mike Vrabel is probably very good at video games. I know it's a
maybe
ties code. I think just he's just so like he's just like a
I could see
tactical
Mike
kind of
Vrabel being like a
genius.
very
He just has such
competitive
a mid
guy.
roster that we can't really see it. I mean, thank God Tennessee has a mid roster because I think Vrabel's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
I could
But
actually see. I was thinking about Vrabel and I was like
yeah,
maybe, but the more I think about it, I could kind of see it because he's so like such a competitive guy, like being a patriot, like
yeah,
that whole patriot culture.
yeah,
He's probably like plays Madden to like crush his opponent mentally and destroy them.
exactly,
He predicates himself on having it like an inner. Mike Vrabel's kind of guy to have like all the defensive adjustments to where you have like 4 interceptions in the game.
exactly. Who you
Um,
guess? Who would you say is your head coach South? Since I got Coach Vrabel.
Let me. I need to think of all the coaches in the NFL. Really,
He's just the
who
one who
I
stuck
feel
out
like
to me.
Kyle Shanahan. I feel like Kyle Shanahan might be,
Yeah,
but
it's true.
let me think. Nick Sirianni, maybe.
Eagles coach. Yeah, just think of the younger coaches. Like we all know the younger coaches have definitely played Madden growing up
I feel
once
like
or
Andy Reid
twice.
also is like probably like genuinely enjoys like being able to do like stupid things on that. Like, I honestly feel Andy Reid because of such a how offensive guy he is.
Hmm.
He goes to Madden and just tries every single offensive formation he can
Yeah,
and like every route combination. And he's just like, I want to do this in Madden just to see like where's this coverage.
He's
I
that
think that's
motherfucker who'll go on Madden 07 to do a creative play thing to create the most worst concoction he could
yes,
possibly think of, and it'll work.
basically.
That she does in
No,
real life,
actually, no.
anyways.
Actually, I know that. Realized it, but it's Mike McDaniel. It's absolutely Mike McDaniel. It's
Mike
absolutely Mike.
McDaniel. Yeah, you're right. Has to be the
He
Dolphins
has the
coach.
offensive like grew enough, but he's also the youngest head coach, and the fact that he grew up like being around like a ball boy, when he definitely Mike McDaniel could walk into like any system, and like just have like a 80 overall roster, and somehow score like 35 points.
That's what I
He's
did in my Madden 17 tournament. Last time UNF had a Madden tournament, I legit swept the competition, never held one ever again because I embarrassed everyone with the fucking Jacksonville, like 2016 Jaguars, the 3-13 Jaguars. So, like, I understand. I had my share of like Madden glory. I still have the trophy. Hold on, let me go grab it real quick. I don't lie about this shit. I legit have it, right?
He's serious. He is
Julius
serious.
Thomas, man, very overpowered. Blake Bortles, the GOAT. Corey Grant, the GOAT, 96 speed. Always love to use him. Whenever I didn't want to use Ford, or it wasn't even Ford, it was Chris Ivory. I
Shout
always
out,
chose Corey Grant.
shout out Corey Grant.
Why didn't we give him the ball in
But
the AC Championship game more? God damn, we stopped using him after the first half. I don't get it still. But we won't talk about that anymore. We don't want to get hurt anymore.
Nathaniel Hackett, Nathaniel Hackett, ladies and gentlemen, Nathaniel Hackett masterclass.
Exactly. Yeah, we saw that in Denver last season, didn't we?
Broncos country, Jets country, let's ride. But
That's right.
Jets country, let's fly. The flight in question.
Oh god. Jaguars country. Let's meow. I don't know. What the fuck?
But I guess yeah, that's it for training camp. We'll see
Exactly.
for it's
Let's hope this
about,
is a Lombardi
as of
in February. Please, I'm begging. Can't hear you.
one player you're most excited to watch for in preseason. Let's end on that.
Okay. It can't be the obvious anymore. We gotta look for like legit depth players I want to see
Yeah,
the
like
most.
not a first team player. I'm not gonna say like Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
He's not gonna play.
Because I guess people talk about him a lot, and I was curious about how the tight end that situation. I'll go Garrett Prince. He's when I saw him when I saw him in person, he got open in the red zone. I don't get it. It's like, oh, okay. Like I said earlier, he got a little bit of juice. I want to see if that translates to the field when he goes up against other teams, or it's just because our backup secondary is dog shit. But we'll see. We'll see. I want to see Garrett Prince do a little bit of something this preseason, get a little bit of fire to Brenton Strange, because she could be yours too. I mean, shit, just both of those tight ends, really.
I mean, I guess in terms of really just the wide receiver battle as a whole, like I was going to earlier, Kevin Austin, Kendrick Pryor, Tim Jones,
It's a
Elijah
fight for that wide
Cooks,
receiver five
Jacob
and six.
Harris.
Yeah,
There's still more guys. Just really curious to how everybody stacks up and, who's scoring the touchdowns, who's catching the passes in the preseason. And, just is anyone getting open deep? I think that's the most like, whoever gets open deep the most, like has the most deep catches, you're like, okay, yes. I like that guy because,
I mean that
more,
was
you know
Tim
me.
Jones last preseason. It was like,
Yeah, Tim Jones made the preseason. Yeah, he had the game versus the Falcons. He had like 2 catches. So we'll see who has another game. And I guess in terms of defense, Eric Hallett, we'll see how he plays. I'm very curious to know like just how the depth secondary does. But we'll see, man. Just it's game week, so
we're finally back. We're finally back, man.
football is back, man.
I know. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Come on. Oh shit.
I
Hit
don't
the
have a
mic.
flag.
Let's
I wish
let's
I had a
go.
flag, but
Yeah, man. We got to. We got a rep. Got a rep.
any score prediction for preseason.
Score predictions for the fucking preseason.
Just okay. I don't care.
How about we'll just ask general questions. Will the first team offense score a touchdown in the 1 or 2 possessions around the field? Yes or no?
I'm scared. I don't want to.
You're
I'm
like, I
scared
want
to
to
say
jinx
yes.
it. No, I'm gonna say yes. Just fucking say yes. Be confident.
Everything,
Say yes.
everything is telling me to say yes.
Yeah, yes. Yes, we'll be
Yes.
excited. We'll get our yes and then know they don't have to play another down in the preseason. I'll be okay. Like legit. If we just like we just like fucking move the ball down the field, make it look easy. I don't want to see the offense at all for the rest of I don't want to see the first team offense at all the rest of the preseason. Get the rookies reps, like get Anton more reps. Like just put CJ Beathard the rest of the way if the offense just moves the ball like super well, like first week of the preseason. But I know
I
guys like
just
Trevor probably want to compete. They probably want like another couple of reps week 2 and then week 3. Yeah, you can just do whatever. I'm gonna be there in person, probably watching Nathaniel Rourke against like I don't know whoever the third string quarterback in Miami is these days. It's like
Skylar
go to
Thompson. Is he still
Skylar
there?
Thompson. Is
I don't
he?
even know.
I don't even know. We'll see when we get there.
But yeah, man, we'll see how this preseason shakes out. So
Yeah.
it's good talking to Jack.
Any other questions? Oh no.
I mean,
You want to make a this I already said will the offense score? I'll say yes. We both said yes. Are there any other
well,
predictions you want to make for
will the
Saturday?
Jaguars force a turnover
Yeah,
in this game?
it's a preseason. I think both teams will do turnover second and third string.
Yeah,
This
it's gonna be a little
preseason.
sloppy.
Yeah, it's gonna be sloppy. It's preseason football. It's always pretty sloppy with very generic game plans too. So I would say yes. There'll be turnover for both teams. And the Jaguars first team offense will score.
Okay, and then hmm, over under. I'm trying to think of one last like silly question.
Will Caleb on Chason get a sack in the preseason?
No.
Sorry, you're saying no. I would say yes. He's gonna give us hope. Caleb will get a sack this Saturday, and I'm going to go ballistic when he does. If he doesn't, I should have never like I got my hopes up in the first place.
I'm not getting why.
And
Even
I've
if
been
he
the
does,
ultimate anti-Caleb on Chase guy, and I say yes, and you're the one saying no. How dare you? You're the one who
even
incited all this Chase on stuff, and I'm gonna say yes, and you're gonna be one to say no. I see how it is now, Jamal. I see how it is.
even if he does have a sack, I'm gonna be like, okay,
It doesn't
preseason
count
sacks don't
though.
really
You're right. Exactly.
since
That's why I say
Peyton
yes, because it's not gonna count.
since
He's
Peyton
gonna get our
Lewis,
hopes up.
I'm not gonna even if it happens, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. So I'm just not gonna get my hopes up from now and say no.
But what if he makes like an awesome
That mother
he makes this move work and he gets a
that mother
sack.
is not real. That's what I'm gonna say to those preseason sacks.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
real.
It is not real.
It is a
Cappy
figment
wasn't
of our
real when he got 4
imagination.
sacks for us in the
It
preseason
is a
1 year.
figment of our imagination. It just
Yeah.
doesn't count.
God. It's like
Let's
when
go ahead
Blaine
and
Gabbert and Justin Blackman were like dotting up the freaking Saints like a long time ago in the preseason. I don't know if you were there for that, but like that was like, oh my
it
god, we
just
finally
not
got
count.
something. It doesn't count because it happened preseason. I thought Blaine Gabbert and Justin Blackman were gonna take over the league for the next decade. Just, of course it fucking did it.
That's
What can you
okay.
do? We were all there. We were all young and
We got
naive
our new
one day.
QB, but
Yeah, exactly. They're
I
gonna
think
verify
that's
it
about it.
anymore.
I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see how the game pads. When the pads go on, how the game goes.
It's
So
funny, like this whole podcast was kind of a representation of what the preseason was. The audio was a bit choppy in and out. We got our whole quips about what we think about the whole team. A lot of optimism on your end, a lot more pessimism on my end. But of course, it's football.
and
We're
then when it
happy that
came to
it's
the
back.
player at the end, I I had to get all my negativity out at the end
Exactly.
with
And I
the
got my
last
positivity. Like,
question.
bro, let me hope about Chase on for once. I don't care if he's dog shit this whole camp. He's gonna get a sack this preseason. And he's gonna get 5 sacks during the regular season. See, I can't even hear you now. It's perfect. I can't even hear you
No,
now,
I'm faking.
Jamal.
I'm not saying anything. I no,
Oh,
I was just being quiet at that time.
see, you got my ass too.
I
So
was
there you
trying
go.
not to say. I was letting you go. Even even
Oh my
if
lord.
even if I say that like Chason has 5 sacks, I'm gonna say it's like when Hutch had like those 9 sacks. Like those are all fake sacks. Like those just don't count.
Exactly. It's
He's
just
not
coverage
winning.
sack. He was just
He's
there, right place, right
it's,
time. It was
it's
5 seconds
yeah,
leading into a
Trey Herndon
coverage.
was playing such great coverage that it was a coverage sack.
Oh, Trey Hurd play great
If I
coverage.
ever bring up the Trey Herndon for a coverage sack conversation, that's how you know I'm like going full
You're a
like
real
Skip
one for
Bayless
even thinking of
haterade.
that into existence.
That's how you know I'm going like that's how you know I'm just sticking to my agenda no matter what.
Exactly. Hey, that's Tony Khan's guy right there, Trey Herndon. We'll never
Yeah,
forget that.
just Andrew Ringer was playing such great coverage deep that like there's just nobody. Like what can
Oh
I'm just
Lord.
gonna cope. He's
We'll,
gonna get
we'll
a
cope.
sack. He's gonna get a sack week 2 versus the Chiefs. He only sacked Patrick Mahomes. That guy's not any good. He doesn't count. He holds on to the ball for
Can you
way too long.
imagine our visceral reaction if Caleb on Chason gets a game-winning sack against Patrick Mahomes week 2? Can you imagine our whole timeline if that's the scenario that we talked ourselves into and make it happen into existence? It's like fourth and
If you
8. Chiefs and the Jaguars 40. They need a first down because they need like 6 points to win the game. Fucking all out blitz. Engage ain't bullshit. Caleb on Chase as the free man. He sacks him. The entire crowd goes nuts in this
Nah, I don't.
105
Nah,
degree weather.
he can't be a blitz merchant. He's got to earn it the hard way.
He's
He
gonna
has
earn it
to
the
earn
hard
it.
way.
He can't be a blitz merchant.
Bro, I don't care how
Blitzing,
he gets a 5 sacks. I want to
no,
spend money. No,
no.
I don't want to spend money, but you
He's
know
got
what
to.
I mean.
I'm too dedicated. He's got to earn it. He's got to earn it. He cannot just be a blitz merchant. Okay, he's got to have some pass rush wins.
Hmm. I don't know about that one,
Fine.
Chief. It's all
If he has three sacks that are like legitimate pass rush, if he has four sacks that
like
are legitimate
one-on-one
pass
sacks.
rush,
You just want like
yes.
one-on-one sacks.
If he
Even
has
at
four
least two.
sacks,
Even two, since he only has like one sack every season. He needs like two one-on-one pass. I don't think it's a whole win for Caleb on.
dude, this is either going to blow. Either way, we can't lose. It's going to be
We're not
hilarious.
losing
Either
either way. We're either
outcome.
right about this bum or he becomes a great pass rusher. No, no, and just a whole offseason for no reason. Because that's just how the NFL works.
Oh man, there's nobody I'd rather pot with.
Exactly. No better co-host than Jabal right over here. Exactly. We're
Oh
having fun
man,
here. We just talked about Caleb on Chase Hodge. It's all like it all gets better from here. But no matter we had a good day, bad day, okay day, we make it better with talking about
you
Caleb
just
on Chase
never
Hodge.
cease to talk about number 45. We
Oh,
always say, I
on the
always say,
Jacksonville
he who shall
Jaguars
not
and
be
in US
named.
politics, baby. We don't ever stop talking about 45.
I always say he who should not be named, and then I always mention the name anyways. Oh
Yeah,
man,
hey man, he's our guy. No matter what, he's brought us together more and more every week that goes on. He's our guy forever and ever.
it's always a good laugh. But
Exactly.
anything else you could say before we say goodbye to the good people?
Nah, man, I had fun. We're excited about Jaguars football. Let's just get this shit on the road finally. I'm so excited.
Shout out once
Jaguars.
again, Taste Smoothies.
Shout out Resident Evil 4. And I guess the Prime in my drink. God damn, how the fuck did Prime get a thing? I don't know. Logan Paul, KSI. Mm. But thank you guys once
Well,
again
I
for
guess
another great podcast.
are you gonna have a weekly postseason game one recap? I mean
We
preseason, not postseason, but
Let's hope, because like I said, I'm trying to get Shipley on one time. I finally need to get him on, so let's hope that Shipley joins us, hopefully before the regular season starts, so he can talk to us what he's seen personally, and of course, what he knows. And I guess by the first one we can start fucking we'll make a 53-man roster prediction officially after just one preseason game. That's when we're gonna just fucking be like, all right, not even before, we're not gonna be like the one jumping the gun. We'll just do one preseason game and we'll just cut everyone that we don't like. Not including Caleb Chase. I needs to be on the roster
we'll
for our
see.
agendas.
And
We
then we
need
can see,
Caleb
and
on.
when, even like a practice squad and a practice squad as well. But we'll see
Yeah,
for next week, man. Well, I'm excited to watch this game.
of course. Let's go, Jags. We're finally back, baby. Duval,
Dude.
baby. Duval. Oh, I don't want to do a Duval until we're actually there, like drunk at like the tailgater slot at like 9 a.m. I'm gonna
Then
be so pissed
yeah, I'm
drunk.
saving all that energy.
Yeah. I'm not having said Duval in so long, man.
Once I see Eric done, and I already know what time, I already know what the drink's gonna be out. So,
I got my Casa bottle, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. That
man,
our poor livers that first game day in like 95-degree heat.
that was actually the last thing I had to drink. That was some ginger ale, strawberry syrup, and a little bit of mango nectar. Made a
Ooh.
little drink of that. So uh, I'm getting my instinctively ready for the shots. The shots will come soon though, but I can't prepare for that as much. So, I just gotta take it like a man. So
Yeah, I'm doing the sign of the cross right now. Well, we'll
I'm
do that
still
before the first home game. We have to do like a prayer circle before our livers before that game too. But once again, guys, thank you so much for listening. We were on a tangent for the past 5 minutes because goddamn, we can't stop talking about Caleb on Jason and our beloved Jacksonville Jaguars. Hope you'll like, subscribe, do that, all that good stuff. Give Jamal a follow on Twitter. Me, I don't really care. Just give the Twitter a follow. That one needs to be more engaged. I need to get more engaging throughout the season. I just gotta be like Very annoying checkmark accounts. Do I get the Twitter account verified? I don't know. I don't want to spend $8 a
Only
month
if
to
you want
Elon.
to tweet for interactions. Then you just tweet things that you say you don't care about that you know people will be mad for.
Exactly. I can't have emotions if I'm tweeting out from a verified account because
That's
once
when
you
you say that's when you say for real that Caleb on Chasen will have a good year.
oh
That's when you
yeah,
get the
exactly. That's
reactions.
that should be our own thing. We both gotta have the login to the Twitter account, just praise Caleb on Jason. Or like anytime somebody says good about like Miles Garrett, we're teaching what, yeah, but he's no Caleb on Jason. Nick Bosa got 6 sacks a game, cares. He's not Caleb on Jason. Aiden Hutchinson gets a multi-sack game in his first game of the year. Nah, he's ain't no Caleb on Jason.
if our account if our account was engaged
We
and
need to change the
Caleb
profile picture to the pod page to Caleb on Jason. Just be like Caleb on Jason Stan at Jackpot Edge. If there are only 1 million people left on the planet, I'm the only one
you don't
Caleb
need to
Jason.
go
It's
that
like that whole
far.
coffee monster.
Okay. It keeps getting funnier every time.
We just go on a tangent, man. We just gotta commit to the bit. You're gonna make me go to spend $8 a month to Elon
We're really
Musk
gonna
health site.
spend like a
$8 a month
hundred.
on Elon Musk health site just to be the biggest Caleb on Chase on stand in the world.
We're really gonna speak this into existence and spend $120 on customized
Oh,
Zach Guru jerseys.
let's hope not. I'm just kidding. We want to. Yeah, we want to. Caleb on Chase on breakout season, boys. All right, guys. You have a good rest of your day. Javal, I'll let you go finally. Have a good rest of your day, man.